Yeah, that's fine. Good to go. All right, it is Monday, September 30th, and the Minnesota Vikings are 4-0. They defeated the Green Bay Packers yesterday, a score of 31-29. It was a bit of a nail biter, got a little close for comfort in the end after a commanding first half. Chuck, what are your takeaways coming off of that big win?
Held fast and were able to win the game, but a couple turnovers, that changes how the game's going to go, and that's what we had in the second half. We didn't have any in the first, so but they showed a lot of commitment to win the game. They didn't make many mistakes, and from what I'm seeing improvement every game. You get a good solid defense, and it all starts from the inside out, offensively, defensively. You get your offensive line going. We see good runs from Aaron Jones and everybody else in the backfield. You see the defense when they have that good solid up front. You see the linebackers are able to flow, the defensive backs are able to cover. So I'm really happy where they are right now, but they'll get better too.
Yeah, absolutely, and hopefully it's nowhere but up from here.
Right.
4-0. So one of the main consistencies of the Minnesota Vikings in his entire career has been Justin Jefferson.
Right.
The guy just continues to get better. He is undoubtedly the best receiver in the NFL. Truly a workhorse, has scored a touchdown in every single game so far this year. But I want to talk a little bit about Jordan Addison.
Right.
We kind of missed him. He came back yesterday, made his impact felt immediately, had that rushing touchdown, receiving touchdown, kick off the scoring palooza. How did you like Addison's game yesterday? Do you think he helped us out?
He's coming back. He's came back, and he came back in a big way, and we missed him, of course. And the good thing is we got a lot of depth at that receiving that position too. So it's good to have him back. He's a big play kind of guy, and it just makes us that much better. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4 really, really good receivers.
Yeah. One of the biggest stories yesterday, it seemed like, was the Aaron Jones revenge game.
Right.
That star running back going back to Green Bay. Didn't get a chance to do the Lambeau leap, although it seemed like they tried to get him a chance to.
I'm not sure. I mean, the only thing I know is he was bringing it.
Yeah, he was.
So when he got that ball, he was. That's the thing I like about him. But he is when he makes his decision, he's going full speed, and that's what makes him. That's what separates him from all the others. He's an excellent running back. We're lucky to have him. I don't know what the heck Green Bay was thinking about, but I'm glad we have him.
So, yeah, yesterday from the running back position, we had two star players really going at each other. We had Aaron Jones on the Vikings and Josh Jacobs on the Packers. These two guys were sort of flip-flopping positions. Of course, Jones came from the Raiders, but obviously the history between Jones and Green Bay was on full display yesterday. Jones ended up with 93 yards on 22 carries.
Right.
Jacobs, 9 carries for 51 yards.
Right.
Do you remember being in a game sort of in a similar situation to what Jacobs was in yesterday, where in weeks past he had been the bell cow? He'd been getting a lot of runs. Now, Jordan Love throws for almost 400 yards, and it's like Jacobs gets 9 carries? What happened there?
It's just he had to play catch-up, number one. That's why he had more, receiving yards going and then rushing yards. They had to play a lot of catch-up, and they did catch up. So,
yeah, they did.
So they adjusted their game plan as the game went, and that's what really good teams do, and that's a really good football team.
So I'm curious to know, if you're a running back in that situation, you're down 28-0, your team's probably not going to run the ball a ton.
Right.
How does the mentality shift when you're put in that position? Is it you fully commit to the team, you maybe get more on pass blocks? How does that shift kind of in the mind of a running back?
Well, going in, especially in that situation, we're going to be throwing the ball. So, you got to go to what else am I supposed to be doing? I'm supposed to be blocking. If he's throwing, I know I'm blocking. And so whatever you do during the course of that game, that's, it's important. Everything that you do as a football player, if you're not getting the ball, then you better be coming off the ball and clearing out. If you're a running back, if you're not going to be running the ball, you're going to have to block or pick up the blitzes or help out on the defensive ends or whatever you see coming.
Always looking for work.
You got to work, and some of it is, you running with it. The other part of it is the garbage part, which you better learn to do, otherwise you won't be on the field.
So there's been a lot of talk around the league about how Sam Darnold could be considered a dark horse MVP candidate. He has come out and proved his worth. I don't know if it's the new system working for him, that year 7 bump for Sam Darnold. Whatever the contributing factors are, it's clear that the on-field production is at a high level right now.
Oh, very, very much so. He's a really good quarterback. He came out highly regarded quarterback out of USC. Unfortunately, all those quarterbacks, they come out and they go to the worst teams in the league. They have nothing to help them showcase their skill sets, and then they get reputation. Oh, he's a bust. That's what they were saying about Sam Darnold.
Yeah,
that's what they're saying about Bryce Young now. And then whoever, every one of them, they said that about quarterback at the Tampa Bay
Mayfield.
Yep. They said he was done. And see, at this level, the game is so fast that it used to be when I played, when you drafted a quarterback, he knew he was going to sit for a year or two, so that he could adapt to the speed of the game. Mm-hmm. Now they throw these guys out there, they don't have anything around them, and then what makes it even worse, the commentators sit there and they say, well, he's probably done, his career's over. And I'm
he's
like,
a bust.
Yeah, he's a bust. And so to me, they don't know what they're talking about.
Okay.
Because they knew the game. Some of them do. But I don't know if they're doing it for the ratings or whatever. But Tim, you need to stop that, because you should know it's going to take at least 1 or 2 years to sit. Now there might be 1 or 2 that come out and are able to adapt it quickly.
Daniels on Washington.
Daniels, that's one out of how many?
Quite a few.
Okay, but you got to give them their time. And so Sam Darnold, I think, has had the time. He's been with the New York Jets. He's been with Panthers. Carolina. He's been with
he's on the 49ers last year.
49ers, yeah. But he's been able to be around some really good coaches that coach quarterbacks. And, he's physically gifted. He's smart. And, he's hopefully – and we got a great coach here that's known to be a really good quarterback coach. And so hopefully, and I said this long before anybody else, I think, that we got lucky maybe, and we might have 2 top quarterbacks. Because the best thing that happened for the Vikings, not the best thing, for not anyone to be hurt, but that JJ can sit and see and learn and observe. That's going to make him a better quarterback. While Sam, he's done all that. And he's had to fight his way back to get to where he is. And you know what? He's a pretty darn good athlete, too.
Yeah.
Because he can run it, too.
He had some great runs
yesterday. Yeah. So I think, hopefully, like I said, it's only 4 games. But, we got 13 more to go. And from what I'm seeing, each week he's getting better. So let's wait 4 or 5 more weeks, and then we can just say, okay, maybe this is it.
Yeah.
I think right now he's on the right track. But none of that happens without the people up front to give him the time and things he needs to go through his progressions and observe, what's out there in front of him. And once you get that, and the speed of recognizing that part of the game comes to you, boy, you become a pretty good darn quarterback. And so, yeah, you better thank the guys up front.
Maybe you'll have to buy them all like watches or something.
Yeah, I did that once.
You bought a gift for your teammates?
All my offensive linemen, I got them watches.
Oh, course, nice.
You got to remember, back in those days, I was only making $28,000 a year, but
you were treating the boys though.
I was treating them. Yeah, I had a friend of mine that owned a jewelry shop over there in one of the malls, and I went there and told them. So they were all inscribed and everything. I got my first 1,000-yard. Yeah.
Heck yeah, that's a great story. So I want to switch gears a little bit here. We talked about the Vikings, of course. Great, a lot of positivity right now. Now I want to switch gears and introduce sort of a new segment to you. We had the idea of coming up with a few different topics and just going to fire them at you really quickly and just give us your initial knee-jerk reaction or the first thought that comes to your mind, all right?
Okay, we can try that.
All right, let's do it, Chuck. So we have 5 for you.
Okay.
We're going to start here. The Baltimore Bullets.
Earl of Pearl Monroe. My great spin move came from him.
Really?
That's
there
right.
was a basketball origin to that?
That's right.
Interesting. Can you expand on that a little? I'm curious.
Well, Earl Perlman rode the Baltimore Bullets. Of course, I grew up in Frederick, right outside of Baltimore, about a little west of Baltimore. And the Baltimore Bullets was the team. Wes Unseld, Earl Perlman rode. You can go on. And he was the guy. He was that guard. He came up. Everybody wanted to be like. He had this spin move when he came up court with the basketball, and he'd spin away from guys and shoot that jumper. He passed it to Elvin Hayes. We had some great players back then. And that's where the spin move came from. But Earl the Pearl Monroe he probably didn't know it, but, he was a major factor in some of the stuff I used to do on the football field.
That's awesome. Shout out to Earl the Pearl.
Yes,
that's right. Awesome. So moving down, Tom Sullivan.
A great teammate, great friend. Set a great example for us down at the University of Miami. The second black athlete there was just a great, great, great guy. Kind of my first guy I knew that was somewhat of a hippie that was black.
And they called you the Gold Dust Twins?
Yeah,
is that right?
Yeah, they called us the Gold Dust Twins. We were putting the ball in the end zone quite a bit. And, it's like, that was the name somebody gave us, and that's the way it went. He was a heck of a teammate, great, great, great friend. Left us too early.
Tom Sullivan.
Yeah.
All right. Fran Tarkenton.
Fran was unique, obviously, in his way because, a lot of coaches didn't want him. They frowned upon the fact that he could scramble.
Yeah.
And back in those days, they wanted a drop back quarterback. Well, Fran was that pretty good athlete. And so... And he scrambled, and it probably drove him crazy. I knew that somebody told me that his first coach up here, Norm Van Brocklin, I think it was, didn't like the fact that he was a scrambler. I think he's the guy that traded him to New York.
Yeah, and there was a game, too, where he benched him for no other reason than just to kind of send a message.
To send a message to him. But, a great quarterback. And you got to remember back in those days when I played with Fran, the quarterbacks, had to have total recall in every aspect of the offensive game. So if he came in with the audible, he might see something up there. He'll give you the signal for the audible, and then he'd have to go down and figure out what play he was going to call against that defense or the adjustments that we had to make. And it wasn't anybody in his ear, so none of that stuff like they had today. The quarterbacks then, it was all on them, and of course we had to be able to recognize too.
So speaking of mobile quarterbacks, Lamar Jackson.
Oh boy, he's in a class all by himself when it comes to that part. And now he can throw the ball. Well, he can always throw the ball, but he's pretty darn accurate now. So, and he's playing for my hometown team.
Yeah.
So of course it was the Baltimore Colts when I grew up, and now it's the Baltimore Ravens. So I don't care, but it's still Baltimore. But he's playing some pretty good football. He's a pretty darn good athlete. And the fact I sent him a Spin Doctor T-shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. I don't know if he got it yet, but I sent it there.
I would love to see him in like a post-game presser wearing that shirt.
Wouldn't that be nice? Yeah.
That would be pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So do you think there's sort of a cause and effect with Fran Tarkenton and Lamar Jackson then? Fran Tarkenton kind of paving the way for that mobile quarterback and changing the league a little bit?
Yeah, Fran was way before, obviously the first.
Yeah.
But as the time has gone on, the pure drop back passer is pretty much going to be obsolete.
Yeah.
Tom Brady was able to succeed in it because he has a unique ability to get the ball off pretty quick, read defenses really, really well, but I think the mobile quarterback is going to be the thing. It's the now and the future.
Yeah. All right, last one, Adrian Peterson. Great
running back of his time here in Minnesota, and a great guy. He's an amazing runner, and we were very fortunate to have him here. I think Adrian's a Hall of Famer.
Well, thanks for that, Chuck.
All right.
Those were our 5 quick-hitting questions. That was awesome. All right, just one last segment. We just want to get over to next week. It is going to be week 5 in the NFL. And yeah, we're already into it. Week 5, it's flying by. But here are your matchups for week number 5. Starting off over the pond in London, the New York Jets face off against the Minnesota Vikings. Vikings are favored by 2.5 right now. Who do you like?
Vikings.
Next up, we have a interesting matchup between the Carolina Panthers and the Chicago Bears. Chicago coming in favored 3.5.
I'm going to take the Chicago Bears.
Okay. Yeah, they might get on a little run there. I mean, these two teams have a lot of history. They obviously traded that number one pick, kind of swapped a little bit there. Both teams seemingly getting a little bit better. But
well, like I said, it's early in the season, and everybody goes through growing pains. So, we'll see how it ends up.
Next up, we got a big one in the AFC North. Baltimore Ravens at Cincinnati Bengals. Baltimore opens up as 2.5-point favorites.
Well, I'm taking Baltimore.
Your hometown squad.
That's right. Got to.
All right. Other places with Chuck Foreman moments. Miami. The Miami Dolphins are going to be playing against the New England Patriots. Your former
I'm
squad.
going to take the Dolphins on that one.
Yep. They are favored by 1 point right now. I guess we'll see how that shakes up throughout the week, but Chuck's going Dolphins. All right, we got Cleveland Browns against the Washington Commanders. Washington 3-point favorites.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Commanders. As much as I would like to see Cleveland, get back on the right track, they're having some problems right now.
And Washington, on the other hand,
yep, another really hometown team.
Yeah. All right, we have the Indianapolis Colts at the Jacksonville Jaguars. Jacksonville opens up as 3-point favorites.
You know what? I'm going to take Indianapolis.
Okay. So that would put Jacksonville at 0-5 then?
Oh, it might. But that's who I'm going with.
Ooh, trouble in Duval. All right, we got Buffalo at Houston. The Buffalo Bills, despite losing last night, are still looked at as the favorite. They are 1-point favorites over the Texans. Who do you like?
Texans.
Texans at home. All right. Las Vegas Raiders at Denver Broncos.
I'm going with the Raiders.
The Raiders. All right. All right. Moving on, we have the Arizona Cardinals in San Francisco. 49ers, San Francisco, 7.5-point favorites.
I'm going to take San Francisco.
Yeah. Green Bay at Los Angeles Rams. Green Bay's 3.5-point favorites.
Green Bay.
Green Bay keeps it rolling. All right. New York Giants at Seattle Seahawks. Seahawks. And then your last pick of the Sunday slate. Sunday Night Football is going to be a classic matchup between the Dallas Cowboys and Pittsburgh Steelers. Pittsburgh is actually a 2.5-point favorite.
I'm going with Pittsburgh.
All right. And then the Monday Night Football, this will be a 1-game slate next week. It is the New Orleans Saints traveling to Arrowhead to play the Kansas City Chiefs. Kansas City 5-point favorites.
Kansas City.
Hard to beat them at home.
That's right.
All right. There you have it. Chuck Foreman's Week 5 picks.